green, he's mean, and he's terribly furry and likes to eat white bulldogs. Tonight we're talking about Rhinelander, Wisconsin's Hodag. Welcome back to Hometown Haunts and to our latest season, Season 5 of the podcast. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I am Haunted Historian and host of the show, Kat Cloco, and with me are my friends Christina Wald and Jen
Hey.
Kohler. Yes, as we journey into the unknown. So, it's summer and we're on a fun, different schedule where we're basically recording every other week. So, yay. Hi,
Which is more for us.
everyone.
Usually we don't record at all. So even though
Yeah.
even though summer is usually cram packed.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually we take a vacation all summer long, but we are recording every other week this summer.
Mhm.
So fun times. Um, let's see, just some updates with me. I am working on a new graphic novel pilot called Dinosaur Necromancer. It will be available at the Small Press Expo and the Cartoon Crossroads Columbus this fall. And the Small Press Expo is in Bethesda, Maryland, September 14th and 15th. And Cartoon Crossroads Columbus is in Columbus, Ohio, September 28th and 29th. And we have the Cincinnati Cabinet of Curiosities issue 3, which will kickstart this October. And fun finds that I found in the past 2 weeks is Northwest Know-How Haunts. And it's this tiny
Ooh.
little book that gives little, like, discovery descriptions of haunted places all over Washington.
Oh, fun.
So it's like a little bite-sized haunts. It is printed by Sasquatch Books, and it's just been fun. Like, this one is the Haunted Washington Eateries, the Oxford Saloon in Snohomish, Washington, which I heard a lot about so far. And I need some pals to come with me to Seattle downtown to do their haunted tour there. Because
Ooh, that sounds like that would be fun.
yeah, I need more friends. So how are you all?
I have time, but not the money. If I had money, I'd come out and see you.
Please do. I have a guest room.
I'd love to go to
I
Seattle
really wanna-
sometime.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I only spent like a few hours there once, like 15 years ago.
It is
Yeah.
a really I really love the whole area sound area because like
Mhm.
Port Angeles and the Olympic National Forest and then the whole area is just so pretty.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. It's no matter what time of year, it's just gorgeous out here.
Yeah.
Even when it's raining, and I know in Cincinnati I'm used to, if it's raining, you can't do anything. And then here it's like, oh, it's raining. Well, then you get your coat. Like,
Yeah.
you still do it.
That's because
So
we get
it's a fun.
torrential downpours,
Yeah, I really
tornadoes,
have
and
to
lightning
be.
strikes.
I don't miss severe weather like that.
Yeah.
I do not. I do not.
Mhm.
I know
And there's
people. Hmm?
Oh, go on. You know people.
Oh, there was two things that people who had been Midwesterners that moved to the Puget Sound region had told me, which was you're going to miss thunderstorms and lightning bugs. And
Yeah.
the lightning bugs, yes, they are very cute, but not so much the thunderstorms. Okay, Christina, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that there's also, one thing great about Seattle is there's a lot of great art stuff there.
Oh, yeah.
From conventions to they just had a big event. Sketcherfest was this weekend, and it was up in Edmonds, Washington, which I guess is north of Seattle.
Yeah, that's north. Yeah, that's so. I to all my big city friends, come close. Do you understand how lucky you all are to live in a place that has so much rich art wherever you go? There is art everywhere in Seattle.
That's
I have
awesome.
never lived in a city that had art on display, no matter where you turned. So those of you who grew up in urban areas where you were lucky enough to have all this enrichment of art, it's just amazing. I did not grow up with that. I grew up with corn. And There are creative things you can do with it, but it's limited. So, okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm done now. Or should I call it my Theodore Minute?
Sure.
I like that, Theodore Minute.
My Theodore Minute. Yeah.
So is your new comic going to actually premiere at the Small Press Expo?
I am trying to move heaven and earth to have it on the debut list at Small Press Expo. So it
So you're
is
not going to sleep till then?
Yeah, basically. I'm not sleeping now.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
Yeah, I get off from doing the show, and then I immediately go back to work inking pages up until about midnight, maybe 1 a.m. And then in the morning, I wake up and take care of little dude.
Yeah.
And this week there's art camp, so that makes it slightly easier. But next week, when we don't have art camp, there is a special basically is a coffee table that is over to my left, and that's where he sits, and he'll just do coloring books and stuff while I'm working.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a lot more fun than when I went to my dad's transportation logistics office with me when they couldn't find babysitting. But yeah, it's been a balancing act of working while not completely boring the small child. But it's only 20 pages, which is actually really short for something that I've worked on. But it's a zine, so basically it's a pilot chapter. But it's been fun. I've been using Halftone Hospital's brushes to illustrate it, which has been fun, and it's all in Procreate instead of other illustration modes.
I just got a new Apple Pencil because my Apple Pencil had died, so I can play around in Procreate Dreams a little bit. I don't draw as much in Procreate just because usually I just draw in my sketchbook, but I am impressed by its tools.
I love doing full illustrations in Procreate. Like, I do use Clip Studio Paint for doing traditional comic pages, but it's just Procreate. There's so much more fun brushes made for it. It's very intuitive, much more than Clip Studio Paint. So when I'm working on the big computer, I usually am using Clip Studio. But for this, because it's so short and very experimental, honestly, I'm like, I'm going to do it in Procreate. The lettering is not done in Procreate. That's done in Clip Studio Paint. Because Procreate, you can't add lettering or copy into the program. Unless it's hand lettering, there is no option. So
I wish I was good at hand lettering. No matter what I do when I hand letter stuff, I always misspell stuff. It's like it's just not possible for me to do something without typos.
It's the pressure.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Getting it right. Yeah.
I posted a sketch a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I have a misspelling on here.
Yeah. Oh, I did that. Remember when Mickey Mouse became public domain?
Yes.
And this was I made Mickey Steamboat Willie jumping out, and this is like, I'm free, and it was supposed to say I'm going to just censor myself because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of families listening to this episode. It was just B word, but instead I forgot the T. And only one person has noticed.
Well, sometimes you see it kind of spelled that way, like in a slang way too.
No, this was
your mind also makes up the word too.
Yeah, no, this was bad dyslexia, just revenge of dyslexia all over Steamboat Willie. That sounds weird.
That does sound weird.
It's been a long day, everyone. Yeah, so only one person has ever contacted me to let me know that it's misspelled. And this is my most popular post of the year.
Maybe there's just so many misspellings. People just don't.
They just don't react to it anymore, or they don't see it. They're not spending enough time looking at it to notice. And like I said, your brain does fill in those letters.
Yeah, my handwriting's scarily close to Walt Disney's when I'm doing all capital.
Yeah.
So I think between that and just Steamboat Willie, people got the image immediately and just
Mhm.
moved on.
Mm.
But yes,
Mhm.
if you look at it, there is a misspelling. I've never fixed it. It's just going to stay that way.
Well, it has to now. It's canon.
It has to now.
It's canon.
So Christina, what's up with you?
Just more illustration stuff and finishing a couple books through end of this summer. And we have a big family reunion in Ithaca next week, which is upstate New York. And we're hoping to go on a ghost tour in Ithaca.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of really nice old houses there. And, you see a lot of those Victorian homes and that sort of thing. So hopefully we'll be able to, even if it's just me, I wouldn't mind going to see a ghost tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Let us know if anything happens.
Yeah, I'll let you know
Or just
if
actually what it's like. But
Yes. Oh, the one we went to in Louisville was really one of the nicest ghost tours I think I've been on, like in a city, because we went on one in Savannah, and I've been on a couple other ones, and the person was really knowledgeable and did a really great job at this one. So I'm
oh, that's
curious to
good.
see. And of course, we'd love to. A friend of the show, Leanna, does ghost tours of New York City.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's a reason one day to see those. And of course, gearing up for the getting people to go to the trip to Tuscany in May of 2025.
Woo.
So yeah, people can deposit that. I've got a bunch of people that say they're going to that, and then of course Romania in September. So sort of all floating around while trying to get other stuff done.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that sounds fun though.
Yes.
And then is there a book coming out or a book
Yes,
just
the
came out?
latest train book just came out. The train rolls on to the county fair just came out. The launch day was Tuesday,
Okay.
and it's about the county fair in Spencer, Iowa. And apparently, like this spring, it was hit by global warming. There's a lot of climate change, and Spencer, Iowa was hit with such severe storms that it flooded.
Oh
And
no.
the author's husband's childhood home was destroyed, and a
Oh,
lot of other
no.
people. The author Jody's in-laws, they have, I guess they have another house too that they were able to go to, but their house, a lot, like you look at pictures, it's totally flooded.
Yeah.
Oh
And
no.
so they
Wow.
don't even know if they're going to have the fair this year, but the book's out. And there is, I can put a link in the notes if people want
Yeah.
to donate to help with Spencer, Iowa, with their, I
Yeah.
mean, increasingly you're seeing as storms get more severe and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
this sort of flooding and storm damage.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Please put that in the show notes because that
I
sounds
will.
terrible.
I know. I
Yeah.
felt
Oh,
really bad when I saw
awful.
that. It's like right when she was doing the launch and after the art and everything production was being done on the book is when this happened.
oof.
And, you keep hearing stories, I think wasn't in Texas, they just had some pretty severe storms where,
Mhm.
I mean, you're seeing where they've never had storms like this before. And
Yeah.
like even in Seattle, the weather has changed a lot.
We've had a lot of really warm days. We've just
Mhm.
finished 16 straight days of over 80-degree temperatures. And
Mhm.
I know our friends in the South are like, only 80 degrees. You guys are fine.
Well,
But
that's
none of our
normal there.
buildings are meant for heat.
Heat. Yeah.
Like my
Exactly,
house has
yes.
no AC. And
Couldn't do
they
it.
are meant to keep heat in. And so we just bake in our houses. And there are runs for AC units and any type of fan that you can get. And yeah, so it's bad here too. And then now we
Yeah.
have forest fire season because there's a forest fire in eastern Oregon right now. And I think there's a smaller one in southern Washington. And that has actually given us 10 to 15 degrees cooler temperatures because
Oh.
the sun is being affected by the
Oh
smoke.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
today, where it had been in the 90s, today it was 76.
Oh,
Mhm.
So,
it was in the
but
80s here today and
you
humid.
don't want to be breathing in the smoke
No,
particles, though.
no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Eventually, I think we're just going to have to go underground.
I'll become a mole person, sure. That
Yeah,
sounds nice.
if the earthquakes and the volcanoes don't kill us.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, by the
Yeah, the
way, there was
earthquake
an
thing.
explosion at Yellowstone today. There was like a
I missed that one.
Like a natural one or a man-made one?
No, it was. I mean, obviously it's volcanic. Somebody had shown some viral video of, and they said it had not happened because you have all those little bubbling pots and stuff, and one of
Yes.
those
I know.
They got
exploded.
geysers
I mean,
everywhere.
there have been some anomalies lately, like with Old Faithful is no longer faithful. Last time I was there, it was really off schedule. You know, it used to
Okay.
be people would visit Old Faithful and it went, that's why it was called Old Faithful, is the geyser would go off every, hour. I forget what the
Well,
timing
I'm
was.
waiting for us to get some volcanoes in the States here because it seems like every other country in the world is getting them now.
We
Oh,
do
we
They're
have
have
some.
volcanoes
erupting.
in the States, Jen.
Huh?
We do have volcanoes.
No, I mean erupting.
But
Being active.
we've had one. It's here. It's called Mount St. Helens.
Oh, is
We
it
actually have another one in Hawaii.
no shit, but I'm talking about like the contiguous states. I can't remember, has Mount St. Helens gone off this
It
year?
went
Did in
off in
1980.
1980. Yeah.
Did you forget our
No.
Basquatch episode?
No,
Does
I
it mean
can't remember
nothing to
shit. My
you?
brain doesn't work anymore. It's mush. No, I'm
But
talking
there,
about currently because Iceland is currently having,
yes.
Hawaii's just stopped recently. And
Yeah.
was
We
it
have
Korea? There was
tremors
another
here.
country I saw that had some
We've been
eruptions.
getting 4 to 6 on the Richter scale tremors on Vancouver Island in British Columbia.
Yeah.
So that is
Yeah.
up in my plate, which is that I'm sitting on. And it's something we're watching. So yes, I am buying gallons of water and storing them in my house.
Well, I was going to say that under Yellowstone, there's supposed to be quite a large caldera. So,
Yeah.
which I guess, same thing as volcano.
Well,
It's-
it is the stuff that comes out there is pretty hot temperature
Yes,
wise.
well, that's why they
Yeah.
tell people. There was a
Don't
book
touch
that was
the water.
There was a book when last time I was at Yellowstone, everybody was buying it. It was called Death at Yellowstone. It was basically a
Yes.
book about people that had died horribly in Yellowstone.
Yeah,
And
it's
The
like
everybody was
best
buying it.
seller for like the past 11 years or
I
since
should
it
buy
was
that.
published.
I just
Yes, I love
remember
that.
the story of the kid that fell into the prismatic spring and he just dissolved.
Yep.
There's a reason they
Yep.
tell you not to touch it.
Yeah, it's yell at the people that walk on the mud flats and then also yell at the people that stop and take photos of bears or poke the bison or do any norm during rutting season. People are stupid around animals. Just so stupid.
I mean, it's
But
one thing, like you can't pet the manatees, right? It's illegal to pet the
it's
manatees or
illegal to
even
pet that. Yeah.
and the sea lions even. But when
You
they
don't
come up,
want a sea lion biting you.
no.
Bad.
But when they come up to you and they're like, "Hi, what you doing?" I'm like,
Yes.
You can't touch them. Like, what are you? You're
So
just
this
gonna have to let them
is
do
a
their
small
thing.
aside. This is a small aside, but it does have to do with a green animal. So we're going to call it good. So when I was snorkeling in Hawaii last year, I know that sounds posh. I was snorkeling in Hawaii, and everyone in our group had managed to see one of the sea turtles, but I had not.
No.
And I was kind of sitting there going, dang it, I wish I could see one, but I'm not going to force the issue. I'm just going to enjoy floating here on this ocean. And then out of the depths comes this female sea turtle beelining towards me. And man, oh man, I had to swim as fast as I could to get out of her way so she didn't crash into me. We were only about a foot apart.
Oh,
I could
wow.
feel like that
That
small
would've
little
hurt.
current that comes off of anything moving quickly, and I'm like, I almost caused it's not a felony, it's just a citation or something if you run into them. But I'm like, oh no, like too close to endangered animal. And hustling. I was hustling out of her way as quickly as possible, and she did manage to get by. Nothing got hit, and she went and got some air.
So you got your experience.
I did. It was not how I expected it.
I don't know. I just enjoy like the videos of the people snorkeling and how the animals interact with people and boats and especially sea lions and dolphin and man, they're like big dumb dogs, man. They're just so cute. I mean, they're not dumb, but
They're very smart.
They are very smart, and they know what they're doing, and they're like, "Ah, you can't touch me, but I'm so cute."
I can't really state for manatees because they are kind of the himbos of aquatic
Yeah.
mammals, but, they're just like, "Hey, I'm just here, no thoughts,
I'm
only vibes,"
chilling.
type of thing.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
chilling, eating my lettuce.
yeah, I've seen from the glass boat trips and people snorkeling around there is basically you're supposed to just stand as still as possible and wait till they leave.
Yeah.
Um, Especially because a manatee's like, "Are you a cabbage? Like, can I
Can
eat
I
you?
eat you?
Are you vegetation?" But yeah, the seals, you don't want to be bitten by them because there's so much bacteria in their
Mhm.
mouths. It's
Yeah.
extremely dirty and is immediately infected,
Oof.
and you have to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Dolphins, I don't know, man. They'll just beat you up.
Yeah, they could.
They could. So,
Well, and the killer whales are coming after us, so
Yes, that's
no, they're going
true.
after the boats.
well,
Yeah.
I think they're coming after humanity because we have been so mean to them.
Maybe.
But
The
speaking of
Revenge
mean
of
people,
Shamu. Um,
I
all
guess we
right.
should talk about our subject.
Probably.
Yeah, we're gonna get to our topic. Sorry, everyone. We're gonna get a lot of hatred. Like they talk too much at the beginning. Ah!
Sorry. We
Um,
like animals.
yeah, we do. We love
and,
animals here. Also,
and
Christina,
cryptids.
tell me if you see any bears when you're in Upper New York State. Anyway,
Yeah, not
um,
so close, hopefully, but there
yeah,
might be.
no, 30 yards, 40 yards.
Just
Mhm.
stay
Good,
away. Zoom in
good
with your
watching.
camera.
Yeah. All
Mhm.
right. So, for any of you who want to follow us outside of just this, you can find us at our new account, Hometown Haunts _podcast, or at Cincy Cabinet of Curiosities on Instagram, and also our Hometown Haunts group on Facebook. If you have a story you would like to have us read and share on the show, please email it to hometownhauntedmail@gmail.com. And according to Christina, we have a new review that we'll get to at the end of the show. So, yay. If you like to show and want to help us grow, please like and share these episodes. Writing a review also helps bring visibility to the show on your favorite podcast apps. So, finally, on to the Hodag. Sources for tonight's show are the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Wikipedia, the Wisconsin Historical Society, the Hodag County Festival, Country Festival, and Wisconsin. Okay, Wisconsinology.com, which the people that are doing Wisconsinology are history nerds just like us. So go check out that website. It's fun. It's a fun deep dive. All right. In the 1800s, the United States had a lumber boom, growing the logging industry and establishing logging mills further into the woods of the Midwest. Settlers to the area established a mill at this stretch of riverbank below the falls where the Pelican River and the Wisconsin River meet and built a town called Pelican Rapids. Pelican Rapids quickly grew, and by 1882, the Milwaukee Lakeshore and Western Railway arrived into town. In honor of the railway, the town became known as Rhinelander, or F.W. Rhinelander of New York City, president of the Milwaukee Lakeshore and Western Railway. The timber and railway industries set the scene for the American cryptid to stalk into the halls of folklore notoriety. Lumberjacks settling in the area whispered stories of beasts that stalked the dark woods around Rhinelander at night, the most fearsome of which was eventually dubbed the Hodag. Legend had it that the Hodag was a reincarnated spirit of a sturdy, hardworking oxen that dragged logs from the forest. Historians note that the settling lumberjacks' tales were likely inspired by stories of Mishipeshu, the Ojibwe water panther, which we've talked about in other episodes. Pictographs that have been found near Lake Superior depict Mishipeshu, um, and basically Mishipeshu looks a lot like how Hodag ends up looking like. Mishipishu, also translated as the Great Lynx, has been described as having the head and paws of a great cat, but is covered in scales and has dagger-like spikes running along its back and tail. Misipishuan Island in Lake Superior is known as his home. Misipishu is a powerful creature and god in the traditions of some indigenous people of the Great Lakes regions of Canada and the United States, particularly the Anishinaabe, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi. To the Algonquins, the underwear panther was one of the most powerful underworld beings. The Ojibwe traditionally held them as masters of all water creatures, including snakes. Many indigenous peoples were guides for the first lumberjacks to the area and may have told the surveyors and timber cruisers the legends of Mishipishu, with the legends of monsters deep within the woods in the minds of the settlers of northern Wisconsin. Eugene Simeon Shepherd was asked to capitalize on their fear. This cryptid went places I didn't expect it to go. Eugene Simeon Shepherd, also known as Gene, was a land developer, a lumberman, a surveyor, and timber cruiser, which was my new phrase of the day. A setup man for a lumber companies who go into tracts of virgin timber and estimate their value based on the potential harvest quantity and quality of various kinds of trees, topography, and available mills. And also potential mill sites. If anyone knew the woods around Rhinelander, it would be Shepherd. And just the old newspaper clippings from all of Shepherd's doings were just a delightful treasure of American unique oddities. So one such prank he did was advertising the discovery of scented moss in a glen. Curious tourists flocked to the area to smell the special moss and bask in the beauty of the glen. However, it was noted that the moss smelled like lavender perfume that Shepherd had been purchasing by the gallon from the local pharmacy. The first incident took place. That incident happened in 1901, and it is reported when we have the newspaper article on. These particular incidents happened in the 1890s. So Mr. Shepherd was a jokester through and through and never stopped. So the first incident took place in 1893 when Shepherd was said to have blown up a Hodag. Which, okay. While out with friends and their hunting dogs, the group came upon a hodag. It was described as a brute with the strength of an ox that tore apart their dogs and shrugged off the bullets shot at it. They fought the hodag for hours before blowing it up with a stick of dynamite, a la Monty Python. A few years later, in 1896, Shepherd was making his way to the headwaters of Rice Creek outside of Rhinelander to an old-growth pine forest. While on the trail, his senses were assaulted by a pungent odor. On the trail, Shepherd noticed tufts of dark green and black fur snagged in trees and bushes, and discovered claw marks 7 feet up on a white pine tree further down the trail. Continuing down the trail, he came upon a large hole dug into the side of the hill. Sensing something big was in that hole, he returned to the Hungry Hollow neighborhood of Rhinelander to find a posse of men to chase out whatever lived inside that hole. The Hungry Hollow neighborhood was known for having many, 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 many saloons. So you can imagine the gentleman coming out of the saloon we're going to go get us a hodag. Actually, at the time, it had no name. We're going to go get us a critter. The posse brought along a pike pole, which is used to move timber downstream, but in this case, they placed a sponge with chloroform on it to knock out the creature in the hole. Shepherd crawled into the hole, grabbed the mysterious beast once it was asleep because of the chloroform, and slowly pulled it out of its den by its tail. As soon as the light hit the beast's face, the eyes sprung open. One of the posse members had brought his pet white bulldog, which the beast chased after and devoured in front of the men. Angered, the men scuffled with the beast until it was subdued, chained it up, and led away on a wagon. And then there is this wonderful photo of the men with the hodag. No bulldog in sight. The hodag, as it was now called, was described to be a lizard-like creature, prehistoric in nature, covered in shaggy dark green fur, and it had oxen-like horns and 12 gleaming white spikes down its back. It had tusks for teeth and razor-sharp claws. They brought the Hodag back to Shepherd's estate, known as the Pines, and on the property, the men dug a huge pit, covered it with a large stone barn, and then finally chained the Hodag there. It was then put on display during the first ever Oneida County Fair. On the morning, on one morning, when Shepherd went to feed the Hodag, he found that the chain had been broken, the barn door was smashed, and a trail of prints leading to the Pelican River. It was presumed that the Hodag swam across the river and returned to live in the old-growth forests, which it loved. Some believe that Hodag still roamed the forests around Rhinelander. So, these are a bunch of unbelievable tales. That, and a lot of people wonder if the Hodag, who is lovingly on my hat, was a hoax. You bet it was. It was a hoax from the very beginning. Shepherd and a friend sculpted a creature with wood and smelly hides from the local tannery. Shepherd's sons would growl, hiss, and move a fake Hodag's legs like a puppet when on display at the county fair. The Shepherd Hodag was reportedly 7 feet long, 30 inches high, black and hairy. It had 12 horns rising along the spine and short legs with long claws. Shepherd would quickly rush. So when it was on display at the county fair, and it indeed was on display at the county fair, Shepherd would quickly rush people through the dimly lit tent, saying it was for their own safety. It was also a good distance away from the crowd, being held back by a set of curtains for their safety. So people were paying a nickel to go into this tent, seeing from about, I don't know, 20 feet away, a Hodag, a 7-foot Hodag, being worked like a puppet and hissing and growling at them from the table below. Shepherd also advertised that the Hodag did not like being laughed at, was afraid of lemons, and sorry, had a diet of white bulldogs. He also mentioned that Hodags were so rare because of the scarcity of white bulldogs in the Rhinelander area. So why hoax a cryptid? When Shepherd introduced the Hodag to the county fair, Wisconsin's timber industry was on the decline. The purpose for the county fair was to attract people to Rhinelander to see their other industries such as farming and business. According to Kurt Kortenhoff, a historian and author of Long Live the Hodag, The Life and Legacy of Eugene Simeon Shepherd. The fair organizers turned to Shepherd for help attracting visitors since he was known as the local trickster. Thousands of people visited the county fair that year and spread the story of the Hodag across the land, but also came back with a memorable story of northern Wisconsin and the other industries that were possible in the area. The people of Rhinelander understand the unique oddity of the Hodag and proudly wear it as a badge of honor. And dang it, I love them for it. In fact, it is the mascot of not only Rhinelander High School, but also the entire city. It enjoys welcoming curious tourists looking for a glimpse of the mysterious Hodag. There is a giant green Hodag sculpture outside the Rhinelander Visitor Center of Hodag art throughout the entire town, and since 1978 there has been the annual Hodag Country Music Festival. And if I read it correctly, the University of Wisconsin's Frisbee team is also called the Hodags. So go Hodags. Since cryptids have become hot, the Hodag has become known outside of northern Wisconsin. It even guest starred in an episode of Scooby-Doo. The episode is titled The Hodag of Horror. And of course, when you visit Rhinelander, you need to stop by the Hodag store, where I got this cool hat, where you can buy anything your heart desires with a Hodag on it. They even came down to the Frogman Festival this year to say hello to their Midwestern cryptid friends. That is the unique and quirky history of the Hodag of Rhinelander, Wisconsin.
I love it.
I mean, it seems like many of these cryptids are kind of like made up. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
But they're admitting to it.
Yes. Well, I was just thinking that wonderful talk that James Willis gave about the Loveland Frogman and just how the lore changed and how it seemed to encompass several events that are probably unrelated.
Oh
Mm.
my
Mhm.
goodness. On that note, we had a funny incident here in Washington,
Ooh.
and it kind of connects to what happened with the Frogman. So, with the original Frogman stories in 1955, you had the salesman witness three 4 foot tall frog like beings underneath a bridge. But in the 70s, you had two different police officers witness the Frogman. One shot at it, and it turned out to be a iguana. So here in Washington, we had our own urban legend gator for about 2 days. And I need to bring it up on my phone because I was not prepared to talk about this. But it's so it is in Sonoma County, just which is north of where I live. And at Granite Falls, hikers there reported seeing a gator there, and the police were asked to respond, as well as the Department of Natural Resources, but they're too busy with the wildfires right now, so they couldn't immediately respond. So it was the local sheriff's department that had to do this. And so for 2 days, everyone talked about the gator of Granite Falls. And the sheriff's department took a photo, and it's a super blurry photo. It is peak cryptid.
It feels like there
You
should be a photo filter for cryptids.
Yeah, they really
Right?
should. You can't make heads or tails of what they're staring at. It's just a mess of blurry green and shadow. And they're like, "We swear we saw the gator. We saw it. We saw it." Well, it was not a gator. It was a Argentinian tegu named Taz, who is 4 years old. So they kinda are there it's 4 feet long. Or sorry, no, Taz is 10 years old. He's 4 feet long.
Mhm.
And they're basically a super docile lizard, and somehow had gotten out of its enclosure from its family's home, which is really close to Granite Falls. So all they were seeing was a tegu, which was going to do really nothing to them,
Out for a
just kind of
stroll.
stalking around, eating
Mhm.
all the small birds or whatever it found
Mhm.
around Granite Falls. But for a good 24 hours, 48 hours, Washington had its own cryptid at Granite Falls. This
Oh, it'll
gator.
take on a life of its own, hopefully.
Yeah, just like that Squatch. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like these I get would cryptids fall a little bit into urban legend? I mean, because that's
I will
really
Yeah, urban legend can really it's not always just ghost stories, because 'cause
Mhm.
you've heard of, like, the urban legend that people eat hundreds of spiders in their sleep every year, or cockroaches living in women's hairdos. There's other urban
Oh, I
legends that
remember
aren't
that one.
spooky. Yeah. So it's a very broad category, and we kind of put them into different story motifs. And it would just be a different story motif than hauntings, but weird creatures in the night is definitely its own legend series. And yeah, it's I would say it would be easily part of urban legends.
Yeah, the
Mm.
Hodag kind of looks a little bit like a thorny lizard too. It's got a little
Yeah.
Mhm.
bit of that vibe, although
Yeah.
thorny lizards are kinda cuter, but,
Yeah.
um
But yeah, it's a great story because the city really loves the Hodag. It's a great tourist draw to everybody to the city, and also Rhinelander is just beautiful. If you love, like, old growth pine trees and being able to be out swimming, water skiing, hiking, all that, wonderful place to do it, if you're an outdoorsy cat like me. But it also has the benefit of having this gigantic hodag, which totally the photos, those are staged photos. I swear it is a stuffed bulldog with a weird mouth put on top of it.
Oh,
yeah,
probably.
that picture is so strange that you have that sort of sepia-toned one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
almost looks like
that's
it's from an animation or something.
it's the same. I think it's the same one in the photo that's staged with all the men,
Mhm,
unless they
Mhm.
have been photoshopped, which, given the Slender Man, is a
mhm.
possibility. so I don't have the ability to check where this originated, but
Do you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of what were the dogs called in Ghostbusters that stood guard with Zool? That Sigourney
Oh
Weaver
yeah.
and
oh,
Rick Moranis turned into.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep, completely out of my mind.
So where did this postcard
Yeah.
from Wisconsin? Why did they draw it brown when it was supposed to be green?
So the puppet version that they had at the United States Fair was black. It wasn't green. The fur was black on it, according to news reports.
So it just has different colors.
Yeah. But I like how the people who were putting the county fair actually approached Shepherd to say, we know we're not exciting. We need something to spice up the life here. Will you come up with something to get people into the county fair? And
I mean,
that's
what a fun
he
job.
did. And it worked. They got thousands of people to come. And also, this was reported on the AP wire. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Got a very
I love it. Great marketing.
Look.
You would still be canceled for that now.
I mean, the drawing kind of reminds me of those old illuminations you see in of like the little devil creatures and stuff and demons. It looks a lot like that from like medieval illuminations.
Oh my God. Yeah, it also looks like the lost cousin from Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. It does.
Yeah. I like one horn is bigger on its back than anywhere else. So
I get that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I said it's adorable. It's cool.
Yeah. I also want to note the hook that is from one of those pike poles that is used as the tail of this Hodag.
Mm-hmm.
Do
you think the claws too?
The claws look like it too. Metal. They're roughly the same circumference. So, and there's hooks for eyelashes. I can't get over that bit. I'm like, somebody.
I mean,
if this is a true stuffed animal, somebody did that. This is a conscious choice.
Well, it seems like that there was, what was the mermaid that they finally got to X-ray in Cincinnati?
The merman thing.
Yeah.
Mermaid?
Where was it located? And they finally got access to it to an X-ray of it. And for years it was claimed that it was like a mermaid, and it turned out it was just sewn together. Yeah. And so I wonder, it seems like county fairs, we were talking about the county fair earlier in this episode, but it seems like as part of the hype, they often had like these oddities there to attract people.
Well,
this was the era of P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, and it's not like they seem to worry about being that accurate or having something that was actually real. I mean, it seems like it was sort of like Weekly World News's Bat Boy or something. It was sort of spectacle.
Yeah. And it's memorable. And just like Oscar the Beast of Busco, it's created an entire community that loves the Hodag. And I particularly love cryptids where the entire community takes part in keeping the story alive.
Yeah.
Almost as
I
like
will
a tulpa.
say, sorry?
Almost like a tulpa.
Yeah.
It has a life of its own.
It has a life of its own. And the fact that it's been in other media, it's been in horror media a lot now. And then Scooby-Doo, which I was like, wow, okay, that works.
Is that a recent Scooby-Doo? Not like it's
a more recent Scooby-Doo from like
I know. I was going to say I didn't remember it from when I used to watch Scooby-Doo in the 70s,
but according to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, the Hodag has been the mascot of their high school since the 1930s.
I love that.
So this is a super beloved character in their history. So I say keep going, Rhinelander. I love it. I know we're giggling a little bit about it, but it's giggles of joy.
Yeah,
we all love this.
Who cares if it's real or not? I mean, it's still that came out of someone's brain, you know, and I don't know, it's just fun. It's like sitting in the dark listening to ghost stories and freaking yourself out because, ooh, what was that sound? Was that what I was listening to, or is there a ghost in here with me?
Well, I think A lot of cryptids are misidentification of animals too, because
Mm,
there's been
Oh
some
yeah.
animals that we've talked about that if you didn't really know that much about what animals are around, you might think, "Oh, this is a weird creature I've never seen before."
right.
When it's
Or
Mhm.
the
really like
weird
an
things
otter
in
or
the
something like
depths of the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much weird
Yeah.
stuff in the ocean
Yeah.
that I mean, if you were asked to design a creature, you can't outdo what is in the ocean.
No.
There's the
No.
weirdest stuff you've ever
Absolutely not.
seen.
No. And on that note, rain frogs are adorable because they have butts. Anyway.
Oh,
Um,
yes, you got the little model with the butt.
yeah, Jen does with Mothman.
Oh, my little
Uh,
Mothman.
so at the very beginning of the show, we
Squishy butt.
teased that we got some mail. There's
Yes.
Mothman with a tuchus. Um, do
Ooh,
you want to read it, Christina?
she's mooning us.
All right.
So, what episode was the habits episode?
It was episode 80.
Oh, okay.
So
So
25 episodes ago.
this is a testament to the amount of research that Kat puts into each episode, that we got a note from the owner of Habits. And
Yeah.
he said, "Hello, fun people. Mark Rogers here. Just came across your video about Habits Cafe. I enjoyed your work. Hope you had fun doing it. My best to you on future projects, Mark." So thanks,
Yes.
Mark.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks,
thank you,
Mark.
Mark. Mark is
Eh,
the longtime owner of Habits Cafe from the 1980s
And we
until
have to say we're very sad it's no longer open.
Yeah.
The
oh,
illustrators lunch we
Yeah.
used to go there for the illustrators lunch.
Well, and it would
there
still
and-
be open had not all that gone down. You
Mhm.
know, it was in no danger of closing.
Well, we
right.
ate at the new place, and I don't know, is that place
Yeah.
even open? Because we went to, it's like in a,
I
what
mean,
kind
it
of
was trying to be a fancy schmancy place. It was
It
Yeah.
good.
had been the Oakley Fish House, and then they rebranded to something that didn't sound so expensive.
we went
And it's
like
a
a
really good
year
sushi
ago.
place, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
was
I
good.
do
Mhm.
I
It
enjoy
That's-
wasn't
doing
habits though.
yeah, I enjoyed doing the super local stuff, being somebody who lived in Oakley
Mhm.
and being able to write about the architecture and the neighborhood and discovering what the neighborhood was like before I lived there or any of our listeners were probably even alive. Like the
Yeah.
trolley that used to live there.
Mhm.
They used to travel through there.
Yeah.
It was a great look back into Oakley and Cincinnati history.
Yeah.
And I will say one comment I made in that episode has kind of haunted me, and me saying, "Oh, there were no Italians or no mafia work in Cincinnati proper." And since we have learned, yes, there was mafia work happening in Cincinnati proper. That was me being a bit naive about some of the history. Um, so I do want to course correct on that one, but that not saying they were related to Habits Cafe in any way, but that was just a comment that I made that bothered me. That had to do with the ghost story there. But yeah, it was a great local eatery that was
Oh, well,
easily
it was
accessible
really
to
fun.
everyone, and now it's gone. And there's
Yeah.
nothing to take its place right now. So
Yeah, because it had that neighborhood feel,
Yeah.
like a
yeah.
long time, like a nice bar there. And,
Had good
you know,
food.
yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it's, the restaurant business is hard.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's very hard, and to stay open that long is amazing. If you
Mhm.
Yeah.
love that kind of feel, there's Carl's Deli in Hyde Park.
Mhm.
Mm.
It's on Observatory. Go there. There's always a line. It's really good food.
Never
The
eaten there. I'll have to try it out sometime.
yeah, my favorite is their chicken curry on a croissant,
Ooh, that does sound
and
good.
Oh.
it's very, very good. It's not
I
a
love,
saucy curry. It's made with chutney and chicken, and it's
mm,
like a
Mhm.
salad, and they put it on a croissant. It's really good. So now I've made everyone hungry,
I
Yeah.
know.
and it's time to
Let's
say goodnight.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. You can email us at hometownhauntedmail@gmail.com if you have a story to submit to be read on air. Follow us on social media at hometownhaunts_podcast or Cincy Cabinet of Curiosities on Instagram, or join our group on Facebook at Hometown Haunts. Like and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Also note, Sending us stories permits us to broadcast them into perpetuity on the show. There's no compensation, just bragging rights. And on that note, good night, everyone, and stay spooky. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Goodbye.